All right, guys. So, look, on election night and the day after, I mean, it was a trouncing, right? It was a trouncing. It was, at no point was Kamala up. There was no hope relatively early on in the night. But what's interesting is the results have kept rolling in. Look, California's got to get it together. California is horrible with counting votes. I mean, it is embarrassing. It takes them fucking weeks to count votes. Other states can do it like the same day, right? So I don't know what the fuck's going on over there. They got to get it together. But we now have we're now close to the like very finalized results here, and it's kind of interesting because even though it was a decisive loss for Democrats, the idea it's like some historic landslide is 100% untrue. It's actually one of the smallest popular vote victories in modern U.S. history, right? So to put that in perspective, you have Obama in 2008 destroyed McCain by like 7.5 points or something like that, 360 some odd electoral votes. Obama destroyed Romney, I want to say by about 3 points nationally. Again, over 300 electoral votes, I believe. You have basically the only election that was closer popular vote wise was actually Al Gore and George W. Bush, where Al Gore won by 500,000 votes but lost the Electoral College, right? Every other election was a bigger margin. So it's not, perhaps it feels like a big deal to people because it's the one and only time Trump actually won the popular vote at all. He lost by 3 million to Hillary, lost by 7 million to Biden. So that does make it noteworthy. But again, if you look at it historically compared to other elections, it's a minuscule victory. Okay, now having said that, what does the House look like? Well, here we go to CNN. Let's see what they have to say.
Yes, the Republicans are going to control the House of Representatives. But if all the current results hold up, we're looking at a record small majority after the Novembers in the
record small majority.
Last 90 years. You have to go all the way back since the Herbert Hoover administration to find an even smaller majority after the November elections. We're talking about the Republicans with 220 seats, Democrats with 215 if the current House results hold. And keep in mind that this will drop lower if Stefanik Waltz or others like Matt Gaetz leave the Congress.
Yeah, talk to me. This is sort of the
So in other words, it's almost certainly going to be less than a 5-seat majority for Republicans.
Best case scenario for Republicans, at least for the next few weeks or months. Where could it go?
Where could it go? It could shrink even further. So let's say Gaetz, Stefanik, and Waltz resigns. We could be looking at, get this, Republicans at 217, the Democrats at 215.
1 seat is now in the a possibility as well. 1 seat.
And I went all the way back. Look, this is crazy. This is crazy, right? Because all it means is Democrats at 215 plus 1 GOP seat could tank the entire thing because then both sides would be at 216 seats, John.
1 Republican vote for the first few weeks, maybe months of the administration could be enough to sink a measure. I mean, how historically unprecedented is this?
You might have noticed in my last answer, I was so excited. I nearly got ahead of myself. How historically unprecedented it is. I love history. So times just 1 majority member could sink a bill by voting with the minority in the last 100 years plus. This, possibly 2025, with the likely resignations from the House. And that's it. It's literally the only time in the last 100 years, assuming, of course, all members vote. So the bottom line is, look, the results from the November elections weren't exactly good for Democrats, but this is a shining light for them. They really did hold the Republican majority down, and given the likely resignations that are coming, that House of Representatives for the Republicans, that House majority is going to be record small.
Just to be clear, that only holds until they fill the Gaetz seats, which is safe Republican,
Correct.
Fill the Waltz seats, safe Republican. Stefanik, a matter for another time.
Yes.
We'll talk about what could happen there.
Yeah.
Harriet, great to see you.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving to you as well.
So, tiniest margin since like 1930. Insane, right? But now compare this to the reaction that you're already seeing from a lot of Democrats, a lot of media pundits. They're already genuflecting. They're already bending the knee to Trumpism and MAGA. We've seen it. Guys, look at the reaction, like from MSNBC this time around versus 2016. Now, to be fair, in 2016, a lot of the ways in which they resisted, I think, were wrong, like factually incorrect. Like, I think Russiagate was a big dud, right? The Mueller report came out, and there was largely exoneration around Russia in particular, although it did uncover a lot of just standard corruption in the Trump administration. So, but back then, they were ready to fight. They were ready to resist. They were all about it. MSNBC was, Democratic politicians were. And then this time, they don't have the same fervor. You saw it, Morning Joe and Mika. They bent the knee to Trump. Oh, hey, maybe we'll work together. We've seen a lot of this, like, oh, you found areas where we were together. We're seeing a lot of that going around. And it's like, hey, fucking idiots. This time, there's no question mark, right? In 2016, there was a question mark. What's Trump going to do? What's he going to do? He did run on stopping outsourcing. He did say some anti-war things. Like, what's he going to do? Maybe he'll do something, right? No. Turns out, the question mark was incorrect. He governed like a third term of George W. Bush. So this time, we know that's what he's going to do. That's what he did last time. This time, it's going to be the fourth term of George W. Bush, and on top of it, further authoritarianism, further unitary executive theory, zero checks and balances, total loyalists around Trump, basically going to rule as an emperor. Supreme Court gave him immunity, so hey, I do what the fuck I want to do, right? So it's going to be worse in some respects, the same in other respects. The same as in more corporate tax cuts, more tax cuts for the wealthy, more deregulation, etc. Worse in terms of he can be a total authoritarian now. You have even more reason to resist this time. You have more reason to fight this time. The idea this was some sort of mandate, bro, he won by like 1.5 percentage points. Kamala got like 48.5% of the vote, something like that, right? That's nearly half the vote. So, wakey, like, let's go here. Fight back, up and at 'em. Let's get to it. But no, you feel this sense of like defeatism. They're all laying on the ground in a chalk outline of themselves and acting like, oh, what are we going to do? It's like, okay, then step the fuck aside. If you're not going to try to lead the resistance, step the fuck aside. We know what he did last time. We know what he's going to do this time. None of it's pretty. Any chance of maybe he'll be an economic populist, gone, done, over with. Any chance of maybe he'll be anti-war, gone, done, over with. They're talking about how to invade Mexico now, his team is. So, fight, resist, or shut the fuck up and get out of the way. Go pick up a different hobby. Politics is not for you. Go play Parcheesi. All right? We're done with it. But no. You don't get this sentiment in more places. I'm more reinvigorated to fight now than I even was in 2016. And you see the exact opposite reaction from way too many people. Way too many. And a lot of politicians. So, it is what it is, man. But you got to keep this election in context and perspective. Yes, Trump won. He won. But the margins are fucking tiny. And the House is going to be like a 2-seat majority for Republicans. None of this shit is fucking over. You do not have to just capitulate on everything. You can lead. But classic with Democrats, they always feel like, oh, the tent needs to be even bigger and we need to agree more with MAGA and listen more to MAGA. And it's like, if your takeaway from this election is that you need to make the tent bigger and you need to go further to the right and you need to cater to MAGA, there's no fucking hope for you. There's no hope for you. Donald Trump was the most unhinged, arrogant, divisive political candidate I've seen in my life, and he won twice. So that should light a fire under your ass to, if anything, be more divisive and more arrogant and more unhinged and just represent something that's not Trumpism. He says the enemies are immigrants and trans people. You got to say they're billionaires and corporations, and you got to act accordingly. But we're not getting much of that from many people. So there you have it. But tiniest majority in like 100 years. Do with that what you will. Hey y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.